Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Habib Ali and I am an ICT tutor by profession. Okay, so welcome back to another lesson. In today's lesson we are going to be learning about how to use the countifs function to count multiple items from different categories or columns, how to use the data filter feature to confirm our answers of the countifs function. Okay, so for today's lesson, I'm going to be using the staff record workbook, and I have also left you a link in the description box down below. So please click on the link and this will take you to my website where you can download a copy of this file so you can work along with myself and we can complete this lesson together. Okay, before anything else, let's have a look at the question of the day. So today's question is asking us to count and provide answers to the following using the countifs function. And the questions are: how many staff are full-time and work in Scotland? And the second question is: how many staff are part-time and work for 21 hours and are based in the southwest region? And finally, use the data filters to confirm each answer. Okay, so we've got two questions to tackle today. The first question is finding all the full-time staff who work in Scotland, and the second question is all the part-time workers who work for 21 hours and are based in the southwest region. Okay, let's go to the staff worksheet. Now, from the previous lesson, lesson number 53, we understood all about the countifs function, which we used to count individual items such as how many part-time workers or how many full-time staff there is. And then we moved on and we counted how many staff are working within different regions. And then finally, in lesson number 53, we also use the countifs function to count multiple items only within one category or within one range in a column. But today's lesson is different. We're using the countifs function. So if I take you back to the question, you can see there is an S after countifs. Now, normally when there is an S at the end of a word, it becomes a plural, which means more than one. Now, in this case, it is exactly the same. By having a countifs function with an S, Excel allows us to count multiple items, more than one, within different criteria in different categories. Such as, if I give you a quick example for your understanding before we start, we can count one item from this category, we can count another item from this category, such as the first question, which is asking us to count all the full-time staff who work in Scotland. So the question is getting more complex compared to the last lesson. The questions are becoming more deeper, and the deeper the question it is, and if we are using different ranges within different columns, then we have to use the countifs function. Okay, so let's make a start on the first question. So we start with the equal sign, just like any other calculation, as I keep mentioning, so please don't forget that one. So then after that we put countifs. Remember the S is so important in today's lesson. Then we open the bracket. Now after the opening of the bracket, we need to select the first range. Now the first range, we're looking for full-time, so the range is in this column here. So we have to highlight from the top right to the bottom till we come to the very end. Please make sure the selection of the range is 100%, otherwise the answers will not be valid. After that we put a comma, After the comma, within this range, we need to choose the criteria. Now the criteria you can see here is asking for full-time workers. Now the word, we can't type in the word full-time as in 2 words, because if you look in the range, only the word full is present, so we have to take what is in the range. So I'm going to type in the word full using the quotation. So open quotation, put the word full in, close the quotation, and then we need a comma. Then after the comma, we move on to the second criteria. Now the second criteria in the question, you can see all the full-time staff who are working in Scotland. So again, this is our range. This time is the region column. So we need to highlight from the top right to the bottom again. Or if you know the range, you can always type it in. You don't necessarily have to always highlight like I am doing so. I'm only doing it for your understanding so you can see it in working action. After you've got the range in, you need another comma. Then after the comma, what is the criteria within this range? Well, the criteria is Scotland. Now you can see the full word Scotland is present within the range. So I can again in quotation type in the full word Scotland, making sure I'm spelling it correctly. Otherwise it will give me an error or maybe even 0 results. Once we've done the close quotation, we close the bracket, because we've come to the end of this particular function to work out how many full-time staff in Scotland. So if I press enter now, it will give me 5 records. Now you may be a little surprised by having only 5 records out of so many records. As a matter of fact, there's 133 records in this workbook, this example I'm using. However, you must understand the deeper you go and the more criteria you are asking for, the lesser the answer will be. So this is actually a logical answer. But don't worry, we will confirm this answer later using the so-called data filter. Let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is actually a little bit harder because this time we are using 3 different range and 3 different criteria. However, the principle is the same. We are just adding a 3rd one on. So we start with equals, we put countifs, remember the S, oops, I made a mistake there, left the T out, countifs, open the bracket. Now the first range again is asking for part-time, so we go to the column where the part-time is present and we highlight right from the top all the way to the bottom, right to the bottom. There we are, to row number 134. Please make sure you get the full range. That is very important. I'm using this workbook where there is a lot of data simply because it does resemble an actual real life working situation. So it's good simulation of real life. This is why I'm using this particular workbook. I could have easily used just a few rows, but I would prefer using this one to show you a real life example. Okay, coming back to the countif. We've got the range. After the range, we need the criteria within the range. So we need to put a comma. Then after the comma, we're looking for the part-time workers this time. So again, not both words part-time. We just need to use the word part as it is in this range. So I go ahead and type in the word part, but I must make sure they are in quotation. The reason we need quotation is because this particular word is a text. Any textual items, they must be in quotes, otherwise it will not find it for you. That is important. Okay, once we've done the first part, we move on to the second criteria, which is looking for all the part-timers who work for 21 hours. So I need a comma after that. After the comma, I need to put the range where the hours are present. So I need to scroll right to the top. Please make sure you scroll right to the top and you start from row number 2 under the hours column. Otherwise, it will give you an error. So I scroll right from E2 all the way to the bottom. Again, if you know the range, I'm sure you can work the range out now. You can just type it in. You don't necessarily have to highlight like I am. Once you've got the range in, you put a comma, and then after the comma, we're looking for all the part-timers who are working only for 21 hours. Now you can see, some part-timers are doing 23, some part-timers are doing 21, some part-timers are doing 15 hours. So there are various different hours part-time workers are doing. However, our particular question here is asking us to find all the part-time workers who are working for 21 hours. So after the comma, this time we don't need to use the quotes. We just simply type in 21, simply because this is a numerical value. If it's a number value, we don't need to use quotes. We only use quotes when there is text. So please make a note of that. Okay, so we've done the second criteria here. Now we move on to the third criteria. Now the third part of the criteria or the question is asking us to find all the part-time workers who work for 21 hours but who work in the southwest region only. So we need to put a comma after that and then go and highlight the region column, again making sure right from the top all the way to the bottom, right to the bottom. Again, feel free for you can type in the range manually, it's not a problem. Once you've got that in, we need a comma. Then after the comma, in this column we are after all the staff, part-time staff working for 21 hours who work in the southwest region. So again, we don't type in both words, because if you look at the data in this column, it is represented, southwest is represented as S west, so I must type it in like so, but remember in quotation because this is textual information. And then close the quotes, and we are finally done with this function. We close the brackets and let's press enter and let's see how many results we get. Okay, so we've got 3 records. Again, simply because we are having this more refined, this is why we have got a lesser answer. Now we are going to go back to the question and have a look and see how well we are doing so far. So we've answered the first question, looking for full-time in Scotland. The second question, part-time, 21 hours and in the southwest region. So we've answered them. Now we are going to do this part here is use data filters to confirm each answer. Now, having a look at this workbook, you can see there's a lot of records. Now for you to fully understand or confirm whether these answers are correct or not, it will take you a long time to kind of find out, individual full-time and then whether they are working in Scotland or not. So manually it will be a very big job. So what we can do is use these data filters to help us out and confirm our 2 answers. Now data filters, I have done a full lesson and the lesson number is 51. Lesson 51 is all about data filters. I do recommend you having a go at lesson 51 to get a better understanding and a deeper understanding of everything about data filters. I have used some good examples in that lesson as well. However, I will give you a brief understanding and teaching as well in this lesson of data filters. So to activate the data filters, all you have to do is make sure you are clicked anywhere within a cell in this range under the headings. Once you have done that, you simply go to the ribbon and make sure you clicked on the home tab, and you come across to this editing group and click on where it says sort and filter. Click on there, come down and click on filter, and by doing so it will activate the filters for you. However, there is a keyboard shortcut as well that you can use to activate the filters and then deactivate the filters when you don't need them anymore. And the shortcut is simply holding down the Control and the Shift key and then pressing L for Lima on the keyboard. So that's a lovely shortcut as well for you to make a note of. I have mentioned this in lesson 51 as well. So I'm just going to click on filter, and by doing so it puts the little filters next to each of the headings for me, ready for me to use now and filter the data as I want. So for the first question, we are going to test this one here. All the full-time staff who are working in Scotland, it should be only 5 records. So let's see and confirm this. So first of all, I'm going to use the filter in this column and simply just untick part because I want all the full-time workers, and then click on OK. So this filters out in this column and basically all the data in this workbook to show all the full-time staff, as you can see here. But we're not quite done yet because we need all the full-time staff who are also working in Scotland. So I need to go and filter in the region column. So I click on the arrow, I come down, and I'm going to deselect all of them. It's just a quicker way of doing it. And then simply click on Scotland and click on OK, and we should get 5. Let's see if we do so. There we are. So we've got 5 records. Actually, you can confirm here at the bottom left hand side. It's telling us it's found 5 of 133 records. We can also count this manually here. You can see there's 1 2 3 4 5 full-time staff, as well as these full-time staff who are working in Scotland. So the first answer is correct. I'm going to now remove my filters. So to remove the filters, all you have to do is come back here, click on the filter arrow, and simply select clear filter from, and you will take the filter off from there. And also I need to remove the filter from the second one that I applied to. So again, clear the filter from, and it brings back every single 133 records again. And you can see this answer is correct. We did get 5, so the filter confirmed 5. So we can give ourselves a nice lovely tick here because this one is correct. Now let's go and test this one here. So this one was part-time, 21 hours, and in the southwest region. So let's make a start from part-time. It doesn't really matter in what order you do these filters. It makes no difference. It will still give you the same answer. I'm just going to start from the left and go to the right. So we need this time we need all the part-time workers. So I'm just going to untick full, click on OK. And then I need all the hours, all the part-time staff who are working only 21 hours. So I'm going to click on this filter in the hours column and deselect all of them and simply tick 21 because this is what I need. Click on OK. And then finally, all the staff who are working in the southwest region. So I click on this filter for the region, and simply I'm just going to again deselect them all and simply select southwest. Click on OK, and we get 3 records. You can confirm here 3 records, but it's only 3. We can count it manually. So you can see there's 3 part-timers who are working 21 hours and who work in the southwest region. So our answer is also correct. I'm going to take these filters off again just by quickly clearing each one. Just click on the arrow and clear the filter from, and it brings back all the original 133 records. So you can see our first answer was correct, our second answer was also correct. So using the countifs function, it allows us to select multiple different criteria from different columns. So please remember when to use a countif, for like I did in lesson number 53 and lesson number 52, and when to use a countifs function that has an s, and remember the s is representing a plural, which is a reminder for you that it is used for multiple criteria in different columns. And this brings us to the end of today's lesson. So if you do have any questions or any lovely comments you would like to make, please do leave them in the comment section below. I do love to read every single comment. And please don't forget to like and share this lesson as well, and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so. And I shall see you over in the next lesson. So until then, look after yourself and goodbye for now.